Hello everybody, this is Sulky, and in today's video we are going to talk about this Oni that is somehow gracing our presence in 2.3 even though we hardly know anything about him and have never seen him in game. Except for some slight mentions here and there. We know that Kujo Sarah has a lot of feelings about Itto.
Can't help but get a little irate when his name comes up.
And you can all see that publicly on the Inazuma bulletin board. We know that Sayu thinks that he's pretty loud and tall and also part of a gang, and I do think that A had some really critical dialogue about him.
Who?
Yeah, so today we are going to be talking about Arataki Itto. Now, I think the community was super psyched about Itto's release, and the tweet that MiHoYo did, basically introducing him to the Genshin Impact community, had a wild amount of engagement on it. There was a lot of hype about this character, and I think one of the main reasons was because he was super masculine and buff. And I think some of that hype actually died down when we learned that they did not create a new body type for this character. Now, I think MiHoYo is worried about sales if they do change up the body type. We don't really have much of a variation at all with the men and the women in this game. The adult men are tall and skinny, and even though Itto looks buff, actually does just share the same body as Zhongli and Child, just with, you know, a six-pack pasted on there. But the body type has not changed, and I think a lot of fans were pretty disappointed about that. Alright, so let's talk about what we're actually going to discuss in this video. We are going to go into the lore and backstory, the little scraps that we have of it, as well as go over his stats as a character. His kit, constellations, basically everything you need to farm, and that way you are all prepared for his release in 2.3. I'll have timestamps that you can see below for all of the different parts, so if you're not really interested in the lore, you can obviously skip forward to when we talk about his kit. Before we go through all of that, I also want to mention that this does seem to be the patch for Geo characters. But with that all out of the way, let's first talk about his backstory. Now, we really do not know much about this character at all. We know that he is an Oni, or a demon if you will, and we know that he is the leader of a gang in Inazuma. Now, other than that, people are pretty hit or miss about him. We've had some playful moments discussed. Yae Miko and Yoimiya have both entered eating competitions with him, and he seems to be a very competitive guy. In fact, during his eating competition with Yae Miko, he's actually allergic to the tofu and still won just to prove a point. He seems to be pretty playful with kids as well, but I know some people think of him as like pretty obnoxious and loud, especially Kujo Sarah. Now, Kujo Sarah actually took away his vision during the Vision Hunt decree, and I think that he's super salty that he lost his match to her, because we can see on the Inazuma bulletin boards that they have a fight going on back and forth where he is just begging for a rematch. So this could potentially mean that we will see some kind of resolve here when his character gets released. Obviously, he's going to have a story that's been confirmed, so in it we'll probably learn more about his gang, what they're up to in Inazuma. We might have some interactions with Sarah in this quest as well. But really what I'm hoping for, and this is actually the most intriguing thing about Itto in my opinion, I'm hoping for more backstory on Oni origins. And I say this because I'm super fascinated with A's friends that we saw briefly in her character's trailer. One of them, of course, was an Oni. Now, Mikoshi was actually really close to A and also fought alongside her. And something tragic happened during the Cataclysm 500 years ago, because everything seems to go back to that, right? But apparently she was swallowed whole by a monster from the abyss. And in its stomach, she was able to break free, but unfortunately was corrupted in the process. And when she came back out, she turned on A due to this corruption, which caused them to go to battle together. And we can see this briefly in the trailer. Now, A does not kill her, but badly damages her and messes up her face. And basically, she runs away off into the forest, and we don't really know much about her from there. We don't know if she's alive or dead. Some people speculate that she's been killed, but we don't know for sure. Now, we do know that her adopted son does go off and work with A to try and fix the family's reputation after what happened, but there really isn't much lore over here, unfortunately, so it would be really cool to see if Itto is somehow connected to her. I mean, my hopes and what I'm thinking is that this is leaning toward yes, but I would love it if we can get some really awesome backstory when we do initiate his quest in 2.3. Okay, so now that we have kind of a little backstory on him, let's dive into what this character is about, because I think the main reason you would pull for him is to put him on your team, right? So let's first just talk about all of his stats, and shout out to Honey Impact for providing all of this. I know that putting this together has been a lot of work, especially because a lot of these stats have been changing. So what you're seeing right here is the most up-to-date information. And I think the first thing that we all want to know about Itto is that his attack is going to scale off of his defense. So just like Hu Tao scales off of HP, Itto is going to scale off of defense. At level 90, his base defense is going to be pretty impressive, coming in at 959, and I mean, we can't ignore that crit rate that's right next to that, right? 24.2%, absolutely incredible. Now, to get him to this level, this is basically all you're going to need to farm, and of course you can get a head start on this, but unfortunately there's gonna be one thing that you're gonna have to wait for, and that is the Riftborn Regalia, which is coming with our new Wolf boss, the Wolf Lord. If you want to learn more about it, go ahead and check out this video right here where we do a deeper dive into this new boss. Oh, and while we're talking about mats, this is basically everything you're going to need for talent ascension as well. All of it you can get right now and get ready for him. Now let's go into his attack talents, and first start off with his normal attack. You're going to perform up to 4 consecutive strikes, and on the second and fourth attack you're going to gain 1 and then 2 stacks of superlative super strength respectively. Now this can max up to 5 stacks, and when we get to his charged attack, you can start slashing opponents without using any stamina. This is going to consume those stacks that you were building up for the super strength, which will be pretty powerful. Now let's say you get him to level 9, that's 350% damage from that slash attack. Moving on to his burst. Now he kind of reminds me of, you know, like Amber in a way, because it is putting a little bull out on the field for you that deals geo damage to opponents. Now when this bull hits opponents, you're going to gain a stack of that super strength, and it's going to remain on the field and provide support in the following ways: taunting the enemies and drawing in their attacks. It's also going to inherit HP based on the percentage of Itto's max HP, and when taking damage, it's going to provide him with 1 stack of strength, and when taking damage, it's going to provide Itto with 1 super strength stack that can be gained every 2 seconds. Now this bull is going to leave the field when its HP hits 0 or its duration ends, and it's going to grant Itto a stack of that super strength when it leaves. Now this burst cooldown is 18 seconds and costs 70 energy. Now before we move on to his Q attack, I do want to mention that this bull does count as a geo construct, so when you are making your team, obviously there's going to be geos on it, but I do want you to keep in mind that you can only have 3 geo constructs out on the field at a time. Okay, so moving on, Royal Descent, Behold Itto the Evil. This is going to convert all of your attacks, including normal, charge, plunge, all of it is going to do geo damage now, and this can't be overridden. It's also going to increase his normal attack speed and his attack based on his defense. So for the first and the third combos, you are going to get that stack of super strength when you hit the opponents, and his elemental and physical res are going to be decreased by 20%. And when Itto leaves the field is when the Raging Oni King state will be cleared. cleared. Now this is going to last for a total of 11 seconds. The attack speed bonus is going to be at 10%, and the energy cost of this is 70. Your attack bonus, which I said before, is reliant on your defense, will go up to 97% at level 9. And I keep referencing level 9 just in case you don't want to crown or you're not going for constellations. All right, so since I just mentioned constellations, why not go over them right now? So at C1, after using your Q attack, you're going to gain 2 stacks instead of 1 of that super strength. And after 1 second, you're going to gain a stack of that super strength every 0.5 seconds for 1.5 seconds. Now at C2, after using your Q attack, each party member whose element is Geo will decrease that skill's cooldown by 1.5 seconds, plus restore 6 energy. A maximum of 4.5 seconds of cooldown can be decreased, and 18 energy can be restored in total. C3, you're going to increase the level of your burst by 3. C4, on your Q attack, all nearby party members are going to gain 20% defense and 20% attack for 10 seconds after the Raging Oni ends. At C5, you're going to increase your Q by 3 levels, and at C6, your charged attack now deals 70% increased crit damage. And when you're doing those charge slashes, you actually have a 50% chance to not consume your stacks of super strength. So with all of that said, what do we make of all of this information, and how can we build a team around him? Let's look at him as our main DPS who can attack enemies very quickly while also acting as a tank due to his elemental burst and his high defense. And let's also try and take advantage of a full Geo team if possible, since that seems to be the hope for MiHoYo with this 2.3 patch. So as we all know, Goro is going to be the 4-star released alongside him, and Goro is a Geo bow user. And they're going to work very, very well together due to Goro's Geo bonus buff. Plus, you'll have the effects from Geo Resonance, which will increase the shield strength by 15%, increase damage by 15%, while also decreasing enemies' Geo res by 20%. Let's add in another Geo user who can benefit from Goro as well, and potentially a C2 Itto if you're gonna go there. So the two coming to mind are Albedo and Zhongli. Now, we have reason to believe that Albedo is going to be the 5-star banner running alongside Itto in 2.3 and could work very, very well together. Now, Albedo and Zhongli will take advantage of Goro's buff to its maximum potential. And the great part about the General's War banner is that it doesn't count as a Geo construct. And remember before I said that you can have 3 Geo constructs on the field at a time, so this would actually work out perfectly for a full Geo team if you do have both Zhongli and Albedo. Now, if you don't have Zhongli, you can always replace him with a healer like Bennett. And I wouldn't say that he's like super essential, because at point it's almost overkill with all of that shielding and defense, but your characters would basically be unkillable at that point. But I digress. If you do want to use Zhongli, remember, Goro's C4 actually allows him the ability to heal your teammates. So if you were worried about a healer, if you're gonna do a 4-character Geo team, do not worry, because Goro can provide that for you at C4 if you're able to pull him that many times. But you know what? If you don't get the C4, all good. Bennett will actually be beneficial to the team in case of corrosion. You know, the ley line disorder where characters lose a fraction of their HP every second. He can come in handy there and help you out. And of course, you're also going to get that increase in the rest of your team's damage from Bennett. Now, if you do not have Albedo and you didn't pull for Zhongli, then, you know, you could sub in some accessible characters that are 4-star, or even the Traveler. But Ningguang might be pretty good here because she'll generate that Geo energy as your burst DPS if you don't have Albedo. And then maybe you can run, say, Itto, Goro, Ningguang, and Bennett together, and it'll still work out pretty well for you. Now, overall, I think that this is certainly an interesting team, but hey, Geo has not gotten a lot of love in the past, so I think this is MiHoYo trying to give it some more relevance for those that are interested in building a team around this element. Now that essentially does it for Itto. I hope that you found this helpful and that it gave you some insight into whether or not you want to pull for him. Now remember, the live stream is coming up. I'm sure we'll get a lot of more information on what's to come with this patch, and I am really looking forward to it, and I hope you are too. Let me know down in the comments below, are you gonna pull for him? I don't know. I haven't made up my mind if I'm going to yet. I'm still on the fence about Geo as a whole, but we'll see. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.